You know the Jets are truly good when the prime rival of Honda, Toyota, sends their executives in the HondaJet Elite. That's presumably the reason Honda has been able to sell more than 170 units globally since it began in 2003. But seriously, what could be the original reason behind such an insane craze for HondaJet among business tycoons and industrialists? Hello everyone, welcome back to Aviation News. In today's intriguing episode, we'll be discussing why the HondaJet is the most popular business aircraft and what X factor makes it so special. To not miss any updates or videos from us, be sure to watch the video through the end and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon. Let's get started straight away, shall we? For the last few years, the company has dominated the industry. It is crazy that they were able to manufacture and sell roughly 30 units even throughout the epidemic. They now claim that as a small business aircraft, their jet has been the most popular. It's nothing new. For the past 4 years, the legacy has continued. Marubeni Corporation chose to seize the chance after noticing the new trend. They acquired several HondaJets and provided charter services to some of the wealthier citizens of the nation. At an hourly rate of $4,700, would think it's fairly reasonable. Because they're so well built, people have started purchasing HondaJets like crazy for another reason. In reality, the HondaJet is quickly winning over the market due to its excellent performance on relatively low fuel consumption and a cabin that can comfortably fit up to 7 passengers. The HondaJet may be flown by either a solo pilot or a tandem. If we go into the specifics, the aircraft's wingspan is approximately 39 feet 9 inches, while the overall length is 42 feet 7 inches. We think that's quite respectable. This aircraft is just 14 feet 11 inches tall if height is a concern. The two GE Honda HF120 turbofan engines, which keep this plane flying as smoothly as possible, help to make the aircraft's maximum takeoff weight of roughly 10,700 pounds practicable. Since we just mentioned the HondaJet's small fuel consumption, we should point out that if you fly at 420 knots, the aircraft's cruising speed, you can expect to use roughly 1,000 pounds of fuel per hour. If you reduce the speed by just 60 knots to 360 knots, the fuel consumption drops to just 542 pounds per hour, or nearly half of the initial value. See why we stated the jet uses a reasonable amount of fuel. Furthermore, if you're curious about the range of this jet, you should be aware that you can travel without refueling to any location that's more than 16,050 miles away. Additionally, you will soar through the air because of the HondaJet's 43,000-foot service ceiling. Additionally, you may have observed that the engines are not situated beneath the wings from the exterior. They aren't even attached to the wing tops. They're perched on a platform above the wings. This is a curious design choice made by the aircraft designer since it provided significantly more space within the cabin and reduced noise because the engines were separated from the body of the aircraft. And while we're on the subject of design, what makes the HondaJet special? We should also point out that those large wingtips you see in the exterior aren't just for the show before we tell you what the interior can look like. Due to their size, the plane's lift is boosted despite having relatively modest wings. This just helps the HondaJet's efficiency increase. Now if you take the time to examine the complete aircraft without focusing on the wings and engines, you'll find that it is a low-wing monoplane. As a result of the jet's low weight, it belongs to the extremely light jet class. Let's return to the topic of engines, which we previously discussed. The use of engine mounts over the wing is often despised by aircraft designers. But why so? Because it's easy. German engineers built the VFW FOKKER 614 on the 1970s. The engine of this aircraft was hung above the wings for the first time. Why wasn't it more popular then? The aircraft was a commercial failure to begin with. And secondly, the speed was hampered by the interference between the wing and the engine caused by this new engine layout. That is why it was forgotten about in the annals of aviation. The HondaJet designer spotted potential while other designers laughed it off. You see, he was aware of all the problems the engine was having and realized that the arrangement of the engines needed to be changed. After extensive experimentation, he discovered the ideal engine location that would not only prevent the plane from slowing down, but would also produce less wave drag than conventional planes. Because of this, the engines are currently positioned at 75% of the wing core, superimposing the airflow over the wing with that surrounding the engine. Before continuing, it should be noted that the positioning of the engines, the fuselage's aerodynamics, and the use of lightweight materials in the construction of this aircraft all help to achieve a 20% improvement in fuel economy, and that essentially covers the plane's exterior. A completely new universe appeared after we unlocked the door and entered. Your cabin is 5.8 feet wide by 17.8 feet long. The height is the only thing they could have done better. The cabin's ceiling only rises 4.8 feet above the ground. Therefore, unless you're a runt, you will need to stoop your back before entering. Additionally, various planes may have varied seat arrangements. Pull-out tables allow you to work while flying, and the inside is all leather. However, none of it is fascinating. The fact that you have a designated bathroom space in this private plane is its finest feature. All of that is attributable to those engines' placement above the wings as opposed to the back of the jet. Even though they only sold 2 units in the first 3 years they offered the HondaJet, their sales have subsequently surged. Let's chat about their ancestry while we're at it. For almost 4 decades before developing the HondaJet, this automaker explored several aviation market entry strategies. They began in the 1980s when they created their first small business jet, the Honda MH-01 turboprop, and they haven't stopped since. The Honda MH-02, which was made in Mississippi, followed next. However, the airplane was moved to Japan after 1996, where not a single replica of it was ever sold. There has to be a better approach. In 1997, Michimasa Fujino, the company's founder and chief designer, began developing a completely new look for the business. He first created some basic ideas on a napkin, but in 1995, he finalized the design and they intended to call it the HondaJet. A fascinating fact is that Salvatore Ferragamo, a well-known designer of high-end footwear, was the inspiration for the plane's nose. We've never heard of someone wearing shoes in an airplane, but hey, whatever makes epic jets. Honda R&D Americas established its research center in North Carolina in the fall of 2000. The HondaJet made its first flight in December 2003 after 3 years of arduous development, but the firm still required a means to determine whether the general public would purchase their new small business aircraft. Honda debuted their first model at the EAA AirVenture OSHKOSH AIRSHOW, and the people embraced it. This inspired the business to move on and market the HondaJet, of course after receiving FAA clearance. Initially, it was anticipated that the first delivered aircraft would arrive in 2010. However, there were some issues. They obtained the accreditation in 2015 for just that reason. Failure was not an option because the corporation invested between $1.5 and $2 billion in this endeavor. And what about that? Sales eventually picked up after a few initially sluggish years, and now, with their 2 models, they essentially control the small business jet market. The 2 models that are selling like hotcakes are the HondaJet APMG and the HondaJet Elite. Please don't be misled by the name. Almost everything about these $5.3 million planes is the same. When comparing the range of each of these jets, you can see the tiny performance difference. The Elite has a somewhat farther end destination, but only marginally. You can see that compared to the APMG, the Elite has a total range of 1,437 nautical miles. The luggage capacity of 66 cubic feet and the cruising speed of 422 knots are still unchanged. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that the Elite can carry either 2 pilots and 5 passengers or 6 passengers and a pilot. However, if you check at the APMG, you'll see that the capacity has decreased. As a result, you may only have a total of 6 passengers aboard, including the pilot as opposed to 7. The only difference between the 2 aircraft, in my opinion, is their cargo capacity. Nevertheless, if your family is typical, consisting of 4 people, acquiring each of these will be quite beneficial for your company and vacation. Flying from one side of the country to the other side is affordable. With that being said, that's all we've got for today. Thanks for watching. To get more exciting and informative content like this video and please share and subscribe to our channel Aviation News. On that note, don't hesitate to drop reviews on HondaJet in the comment section as well.